Andrew Berry also yesterday talked about Baker Mayfield being the quote-unquote franchise quarterback.
I think with Baker, especially from a long-term perspective, you really try and take a big picture approach. It really, with any player, it's about body of work over really over several years, and also taking into context the environment or a particular individual situation. We've seen Baker play a lot of good football here. We've seen Baker play good football, this season. I know he's excited, and we're excited for the opportunity ahead of us. And we expect him to play his best football moving forward over the next 5 weeks.
What does he have to show you in these next 5 weeks to really solidify, how you feel about him and where everybody goes from here?
Yeah, Mary Kay, I don't know it's so much about, showing me anything. Like, really, our focus is on, winning games and playing at a high enough level that, allows us to, be in a strong spot in December. That's really where the focus is. I think Baker showed a lot over the past, 4 or I guess kind of 3+ seasons. So I don't necessarily subscribe to this notion that there's some, something in these next 5 games that's of particular focus, so to speak.
And again, John, the Browns are going to wait to figure out what they do contract-wise long-term, because there's no need to decide. He's under contract for next year. They can franchise him after that if they need to. It's probably not ideal, but you want to know exactly what you have. What are your thoughts just on, Baker Mayfield moving forward, and the Browns moving forward with Baker Mayfield potentially?
Well, I just don't think that he's worth the Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson type of money that we saw in the preseason. And the Browns went into the season for a reason, and that is to see exactly what they have and exactly who they have. Again, Baker Mayfield's value has dropped financially. I mean, there's no question about it that this season there have been some red flags where we thought in the second year of the Stefanski system we would see him take a climb. We haven't seen that. Instead, we've seen some regression. So you have to both understand that, yeah, there's been regression, but Andrew Berry used the term body of work. Sometimes I actually think it's kind of funny, Dave. This is my little pet peeve rant of the day. When people are like, oh, the GM's not going to unveil a whole lot, or he's not going to say a whole lot. Yeah, but he said something there. And he said that he's not necessarily looking at the next 5 games defining whether or not Baker Mayfield stays or goes. But I do think that they are looking at the next 5 games and saying, okay, well, what is this kid's value? What is the marketplace here for him? And what is it that we need to do to make sure that we are doing right on us as an organization so that we can win with him on the field and not lose because we gave or handed out a bad deal and aren't able to build with him. And I think a lot of Browns fans want Aaron Rodgers. They want Patrick Mahomes. They want Lamar Jackson. That's not the sole formula of how you could win in the National Football League. So the long-term thing is, I still would say Baker Mayfield is more a franchise quarterback in Cleveland than he is not. I think that there's been negatives this year. I do think injuries have affected some. I do think that the next 5 games are important and that he does have to show something, and it'll be very intriguing to see. But we weren't asking ourselves the question heading into this season whether or not Baker Mayfield was this organization's quarterback. We were asking ourselves what his value is and how the Browns can navigate the marketplace. And I don't think that there's enough reason to now say that just because Baker Mayfield's had some weak performances, that the Cleveland Browns now need to move off of him and get back into the QB marketplace, when that, as we well know, is very, very difficult to just hit in the NFL.
Yeah, and the question is, if you're moving off of Baker Mayfield, what are you moving on to? Don't assume that Aaron Rodgers wants to come here. Don't assume that Russell Wilson wants to come here. Why would Russell Wilson come here with what we have at wide receiver when he's got DK Metcalf, he's got Tyler Lockett, and that crew? Now, granted, his offensive line isn't what it is here or would be here, but those are all things that a quarterback's going to look at. And quite honestly, playing in snow and weather in November and December isn't hot. Now, Aaron Rodgers is used to it, I'll give you that. But
Sure.
not a lot of people are signing up to do that.
No, and when has anybody of that caliber willingly said, I'm taking my talents to Cleveland, Ohio? I'm a Clevelander, you're a Clevelander. We love Cleveland, but we got to keep it real.
Yeah.
We got to keep it real here on this show. That hasn't happened. A move of that magnitude at the quarterback position. That has not happened.
Well, and you're coming into a run-oriented offense. Why would you do that if you're Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson?
And by the way, you're coming into the AFC North, which has Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and we'll see. I think in Pittsburgh right now, I think the Pittsburgh Steelers right now are definitely looking at this situation in the mirror and thinking, oh boy, we've got to figure things out. But they're one of many organizations that are going to be throwing the lottery ball out there and saying, here's what we think we've got at our quarterback position. Not everybody has a Bill Belichick that can mold a Mac Jones just so suddenly. The Browns do have a good coach. They do have a defense that I think is the X factor that we're going to get into this show a little bit later about this defense. They've got pieces and parts, and they do have a capable quarterback. Again, don't let what's happened here in the last month and change. I know that's hard because we're in a what have you done for me lately world. But don't let that now take your judgment into the grass will be greener on the other side, because we know that the grass is not always greener. I think a lot of people are watching Baker struggle, and because of all the quarterback changes that this organization's gone through over the last 2 decades, that now becomes the mind trigger. That's not how it always needs to be. These are not the same old Browns, and Andrew Berry's not the same old general manager.